from left to right. A big impediment for Caldy in this first half will be that sun very high on the right-hand side of this pitch. Will be causing problems for that back three of Will Robinson, Reece Shooter and Charlie Hyde. But for now, we get underway, and it's a ropey start nonetheless from the home side of Chinnor. Making sure to just keep that one safe and allow the forwards to recycle. And an obvious position, as we've seen in English rugby so often, is a forward hit up and then straight into the box kick for the scrum half. And it's well returned by Will Robinson. And player there wearing the number 26 jersey, confirmation of who that is exactly later on as we figure out what other numbers are potentially missing. And the box kick returned by Caldy. Nice compete in the air by Will Robinson, and the possession still in the hands of Caldy. Out the back it goes now to Michael Barlow. Chinnor doing their best to try and disrupt things as they go back down the short side. Caldy, JJ Dickinson, like yourself, a stalwart of Caldy. Over 200 caps for the Ravers. What an accolade that is. Through the backs now. Isaiah Wharton on that final carry. Wilkinson looping round the back, dummied by Michael Barlow, but forced backwards. That was Connor Brockschmidt. And Chinnor have managed to get the turnover. Wide it goes now to Will Cave in that red scrum cap of his. Down the short side they still go. Dummy and go by Thomas Watson. And out the back it goes. And that will be first blood to the home side. Brodie Robinson. A lovely bit of breakaway work by the Villagers.
Yeah, so Dom, some really good defence in midfield from Chinnor. Huge, great hit from Kai Owen. He put Barlow back 5 or 6 metres. Chinnor then flew into the ruck, got turnover ball. They looked to move that ball wide. Lovely miss pass from Harry Dugmore at 6. Saw the space out wide. Then returning Tom Watson showed and go. Made some superb ground down that right hand side. Released Brodie, who just had a bit too much pace to take over the scrambling defence and went in under the post. So a superb start for Chinnor after some really, really good defence from Chinnor in the midfield.
Yeah, it's 2.5 minutes is all it's taken for Chinnor to take the lead in this game and the initiative. And
is 26 someone new, or is he just got a second?
Caldy started off very well. Ball in hand and work out the back was working very, very nicely for them. But the quick turnover, as you say, Kai Owen, a big instigator in that one, helping the Villagers strike first. And the boot of Richie Simpson means that it is Chinnor 7, Caldy 0. So underway we get once again. Kieran Wilkinson a little bit deeper this time, beyond the 22 metre. And bundled up was Harry Dugmore. And again, Luke Carter just asking for the ball at the back so he can box kick it away, relieve some pressure, and use defence as the best form of attack. But still Chinnor come back with it after a knock-on by, that was Charlie Hyde. Crossfield kick towards Kieran Goss. Oh, knocked on ever so slightly, so referee not wanting to play any advantage there, and we'll take the scrum for Caldy.
You mentioned it earlier, Dom, that Sun is going to be in the eyes of Caldy's back three, so a box kick from Luke Carter. Difficult for Caldy's fullback to regather. He knocks on. Chinnor look to attack down the left-hand side. Cross kick to Kieran Goss, who knocked it on, so it gives the scrum to Caldy to see if they can launch their first attack from inside the Chinnor's third.
It's pretty typical British of us, isn't it, really, that one of the first few sightings we get of the sun, and immediately we're
complaining
that it's interfering with the rugby, but Such is the life of a Brit, eh? But first scrum down is going to be put in by Chinnor, by Caldy, sorry. Both teams starting with the letter C is rather confusing, but here we go. It's Ollie Wynn with the put in. Chinnor putting in a good shove, but Caldy coming away with it still through Michael Barlow, a name we've said so many times already. Ollie Wynn putting a little chip out the back. Goss dealing with it somewhat, but not very effectively. A man of many caps. You thought he'd do a little bit better than that.
Yeah, so Gossie's shown his game awareness there by covering the little dink over from Caldy, but won't be happy with his kick. So there was wide open spaces in the backfield. Probably should have just looked for a bit of grass rather than looking for touch, and he's kicked it out on the full, a metre or half a metre out from the 22. So gives Caldy another chance to launch an attack.
As I say, a man of many caps. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, John, over 254 for Chinnor, and it's retirement doesn't seem very close by, does it, for him? Never in consideration too much.
No, he's one of those guys who doesn't rely out and out on his pace. It's his game awareness and his power to weight ratio. So he's not going to run in tries that he used to maybe 4 or 5 years ago from 90, 100 metres, but he's certainly pretty lethal from 15, 20.
An asset in the change of room, I'm sure of that. It's Joe Sproston taking in the ball, drawing in a few defenders, and this is Caldy's playbook. Drawing the defenders, go out the back to that magic man of Kieran Wilkinson. Out on the wing is Will Robinson there carrying in, stepping inside, avoiding the touchline. Wilkinson once again to Monty Weatherby. Still they go, Caldy. Charlie Hyde. Wilkinson, chip over the top. Backline of Chinnor needs to deal with it, but it bundles over the try line and dotted down by Nick Smith. So a goal line dropout is all that will come from that passage play by Caldy. But
yeah, Caldy going through the phases looking quite dangerous. They went in really, really quick ball, so put in Kieran Wilkinson on the front foot. He's looking to isolate defenders and getting his runners off him. Realising he didn't have, so put a nice little dink in. Forces Chinnor to force the ball on their dead ball area, so a goal line dropout.
Joe Sproston doing his best to interfere with that one and put off Richie Simpson as much as possible, but hard run now by Michael Barlow, a name we've said so many times, and the tip and go is wanted quickly by Ollie Wynn, and support coming in now, and that's Callum Ridgway. Over the 22, Caldy are now. Another chance to attack, and how much they would love to come away with points in this instance. Wilkinson, hard line by Connor Wilkinson, his brother, but
I think he's been pinged for an early tackle there.
Yeah, I think so.
I think Chinnor were quite lucky to get away from a nice little tap and go from the 9 win. He didn't seem to have gone 10 metres before he was tackled by Will Cave. He looked to have only gone about 6 or 7 metres, so surprised the referee didn't give them a penalty advantage. But nonetheless, they have this similar sort of spot, and Wilkinson is kicking for the corner, and we'll see Caldy's well-worked line-out drive threaten Chinnor's line.
Just for a decision-making point of view, is that an instance where you'd maybe want your 10 to go for the posts? You know, it's early doors, you can carry on getting a bit of momentum, go back up the field and plant some more points on them potentially, or do you think going for the corner is the right option?
No, I think it's an interesting one. I think this game is not going to be won by 3 points. I think both sides are going to probably score multiple tries, so fair play to Caldy for rolling the dice and looking to see if they can score.
So the man in the line out wearing the number 26 was Dylan Hodgkinson. He's potentially wasn't able to fit into the 5 shirt, or it may have gone missing or something, but Caldy still with the ball. Very forward heavy teams, both Chinnor and Caldy, and JJ Dickinson is one of those for Caldy as he charges forwards now. The pick and go by Hodgkinson, I just mentioned previously. Laboda. It's going to be a hot and heavy day if this is how the game's going to continue, with forward dominant ball. Hodgkinson again. The
Caldy now playing under advantage, so we're looking to see if they'll go wide now.
Wilkinson got a lot of players round him, and that is Luke Carter, who's managed to still wriggle away from him. wriggling still away, just short of the line.
I think they'll bring that back for a penalty. They were playing under advantage, so Wilkinson, fair play, looking to roll the dice. Caldy going through what their strength of their game is, those big heavy carries around the corner, getting round the corner. Some real good carries from both second rows, making yardage. Great leg drive in that tackle, getting beyond the gain line, giving them quick balls, looking pretty dangerous. And they're looking like they're going to go to the corner again.
It was somewhat indecisive by Wilkinson there. Looked towards the corner. I think it was potentially Will Robinson on his left wing that was free and open, but he was the only one outside him, and there was a field of Chinnor players who were still there, waiting to bundle him up. But it was one of those that potentially, we've got the advantage. We can still roll the dice potentially, but. It was almost like a bit of a quarterback in the scrambling in the pocket, realising these passes aren't on. So I think he did the right thing. Nearly scored, actually, got himself out of 2 or 3 tackles, but a really dangerous position now for Caldy. So Caldy now on the 5 metre line. Ollie Hearn throwing in, scored twice against Chinnor up in the Wirral last time round in November. And here he is at the back of this maul now, steering this Caldy ship towards the try line. Chinnor's defence holding out so well, but they've got to regroup, but they're unable to do so. And so Ollie Hearn is the man at the back that dots down for the Ravers, making it his 14th try this season and making his record against Chinnor 3 this season. Poor discipline or chipping away by Caldy?
As I say, we've mentioned before, Caldy go to their strength, which is heavy runners coming around the corner, dragging defenders in, then looking to release the backs if that's the case. But they're making yardage every time, every carry they're making yardage. So why not just keep to that game plan? Kick to the corner. They know that's a real strength of their game. So fair play to them.
As I say, 2 very forward-heavy teams that like to favour that area of the player group to look for their tries. And I've lost count of how many more tries we've had this season, but it's definitely in the 100+ mark, that's for sure. But on this occasion, Kieran Wilkinson unable to make the conversion. What looks like an easier job for him than what he's had to do in the past. But Chinnor stay ahead by a hair in this game and will kick off for the first time this game. Nice and high, competable, and knocked on by Caldy. So Chinnor still with possession through Isaiah Wharton. Through the backs now goes. Really spreading this Caldy team. Lovely work. Sam Hanks getting involved there. A bit loose though, and it's Jamie Campbell that ends up picking it up. A monster in the lineup for Chinnor this season. Kai Owen tipping on to Wharton once again. Down the blind side they still go, and intercepted by Kieran Wilkinson. Met very well by Sam Hanks that was, but Caldy now with the ball. And a really important interception made there.
Yeah, I think he'd been happy with being Tom Hanks, but it was Sam Hanks. Chinnor looking quite dangerous, but Wilkinson read the ball, intercepted really well. But Chinnor recycle the kick. Goss makes some good yardage, and they'll look to launch an attack. Need to get that ball a bit quicker from the ruck. It's just an extra couple of seconds, giving Caldy the chance to.
Brilliant breakaway chance here now. Richie Simpson. He's got Luke Carter on his outside, but he decides to go alone. Carter not right where he thought he was, but the clearance kick
this
made by one of the Caldy forwards. Really good chase on by. That's Charlie Hyde. A little grubber through, but it's managed to stay in touch. And Charlie Hyde, absolutely incredible. The assistant's thumb goes up, and so he is happy with the referee's decision.
Yeah, what an amazing passage of play. Chinnor went through the phases. Lovely little break there from Chinnor's 10 and had inside pass to Luke Carter. He didn't take that in. Had an outside pass to Robinson, but looked to be going all the way. Superb late tackle from Kieran Wilkinson, right on the line. He looked to offload. The ball went backwards. It's open play, so anyone could pick the ball up. Caldy picked the ball up, moved it wide to Robert. A superb kick down with no one in the backfield, and it always looked from the minute he kicked it. Chinnor's chasers were the front row against a rapid left winger, and he did superbly to score in the corner.
Brilliantly summed up there. Thank you very much, John. But Charlie Hyde, 9th try this season. He actually started opening 3 or 4 games of Caldy's season in their second team, and has made quite the impact in the first team, stepping up to the champ level. What an outstanding kick. How that ball managed to stay in, how he managed to get there first, I do not know. But Caldy now leading for the first time in this game. Kieran Wilkinson missing yet another conversion. But the roar of the villagers echoes across Kingsley Road now to spur their boys on after a quite unfortunate try if you're a Chinnor fan, to say the least. But just before that, what brilliant breakaway chance it was by Richie Simpson. Possibly the wrong decision to try the offload to Luke Carter. But I'm sure the message will be goldfish, forget what's happened, and attack this game with more vigour, as Ollie Wynn ushers the ball to the back of that ruck and kicks it high. It's quite short, so Kieran Goss underneath it, but bundled by his opposite number, Rhys Tudor. And the penalty coming for Chinnor.
Yeah, Joe Sproston making a bit of a mess of that ruck, but then he came in at the wrong side, played the 9 where he's not allowed to, so a pretty clear penalty, which gives Chinnor the chance to kick it into the corner.
Yes, I'm sure Jamie Campbell is licking his lips at this situation. Unbelievable statistics he has this season. 24 line-out steals, which is
it's been a bit
more than any other player in the champ.
Bit of a revelation for Chinnor this season. Has come from nowhere, a bit of a unknown quantity from Scotland, but now probably one of the most sought-after players in the championship.
Absolutely, you'll be very fortunate to keep him on next year, as Campbell is the main man that goes up and brings it down swiftly and securely. Peeling round the corner though, as Hooker just loses his footing a little bit there as he came round. And through the hands it is now with Thomas Watson. Ran hard by Wharton. Edging closer are Chinnor. Kai Owen, heavy hit. Back in the open side to the 10, out to the wide areas. Kieran Goss waiting on the outside, but Sam Hanks decided to back himself. Watson again. And Ollie Wynn. A moment
he's
of
probably going to be
madness,
he's going to be lucky to get away from a yellow card from that pretty cynical right in front of the referee. He's not allowed to play the 9 within a metre of the ruck. That's a new law. So, but Chinnor will kick to the corner.
Well, Matt Cairns is nicely joining us up on the commentary gantry today. Just got to be a little bit careful what we say. He's got one ear out listening for us, but we're on our best behaviour, I promise you, Matt. Well, I am anyway. I don't know about you, John.
I didn't hear what you said.
I said I'm on my best behaviour. I don't know about you. But Chinnor, line out once again. Dangerous position. This is where they like to be. And that is why. That is exactly why. Because it equals tries. So it's the 4th try in this game already.
And I think that's like Will Cave getting up with the ball there. So really well, quick move, taken down really quickly, and Chinnor hit the line out so quickly, became completely unstoppable, and from 5 metres, really well worked try, which puts Chinnor back into the lead by 2 points.
I think you might be right. I think Will Cave could have been the one that emerged from the melee over the line to score that try. My eyes are deceiving me potentially, but we'll give him the credit for now. But now, Richie Simpson lining up this kick. 100% so far in this game. Not played an awful lot for Chinnor this season, but so far making a good impression. until that moment, a little bit wide on that one, but score returns back to a 2-point margin in favour of Chinnor.
As we said before, Dom, it's going to be a high-scoring game. That's 4 tries already in the first quarter of the match, so both sides looking to attack. It's a real ding-dong battle so far, and it could potentially be one of those games that for who is actually in the lead on the 80th minute rather than who is the better team.
I think you could be right. Ding-dong battle indeed, and over Jamie Campbell that one goes, and Wharton running it back over the 22-metre line. And again, Luke Carter going back to his rule book of get it away, relieve the pressure, turn defence into attack. But not before Caldy get a chance as they go back down this left wing. And here is Will Robinson. Brilliant breakaway and a great hard line. Getting ever closer to that try, and ding-dong battle indeed.
Yeah, superb try from Caldy there. So it's almost they know that Luke Carter's going to kick it. They put players back in the outfield. Chinnor has to make sure they tackle the catcher. He manages to get away from the first tackle, makes a few yards, so gives Caldy the chance to attack down that left-hand side. They swarm down that left-hand side. Superb break, cuts inside. Really, really good support runners from Caldy. Really little offload and under the post for a superb try.
I think that was Ollie Hearn who got on the end of that one, so it's his second of the game and his 4th against Chinnor this season. But as you say, a lovely breakaway on that left wing by Will Robinson. Ollie Wynn was in support, but also so too was Ollie Hearn.
Yeah, Will Robinson looking really dangerous. That's sort of several incursions he's had on the line. Looks dangerous, beats his men within a sort of couple of inches, goes round, which means he's well into Chinnor's scramble defence, and then lovely little inside ball. Really, really good support from Caldy, and a deserved try to take the lead, 17 points to 12.
Well, yes, as you say, 17 points now as Kieran Wilkinson finally puts the ball between the uprights rather than either side of them. And what a first half we're having so far here at Kingsley Road, as Chinnor get us underway once again. And JJ Dickinson is the man to bring them back over the line, and a quick tap and pick and go. Knock on there though by, I think it was Chris Moore, just tried to get in between that pass, but ended up knocking it on. So we'll have a scrum down, and it will be a Chinnor ball. And while Ollie Hearn receives a bit of treatment, the referee was just doing his laces up. Matt Cairns next to us on the commentary gantry, just hoping that Ollie Hearn is all right to carry on. Nursing something on his hip potentially, on that right leg. Physio's just feeling around for it, but he's happy to continue.
It's been a full-on game so far, first 23 minutes, so players probably quite happy for a bit of a rest. First time we've had one for a while, so interested for this scrum. The first scrum we saw, Chinnor had a bit of a nudge on, so we'll see if they try and attack this scrum where they could really look to really attack it and put Caldy under pressure.
Yeah, a scrum penalty right now for Chinnor would be a great situation to find themselves in, but equally a 96.6% scrum win rate for Caldy this season.
Yeah, that's a rock solid scrum from Caldy. Now look to attack from deep. Lovely little nudge in from Wilkinson. We talked about him earlier. Superb kick. That's a sort of 65-metre gain from that scrum. So now they'll be looking to put Chinnor under pressure from their line out 2 metres from the 22.
Yeah, as you say, 2 metres away from a 50-22, but a very beautifully threaded kick through towards the touchline by Kieran Wilkinson. He was actually yellow carded in this fixture in November, earlier this season. So
yeah, we've Chinnor have had a couple of ding-dongs with Caldy already this season. One in a friendly match just before the start of the season. It was the most competitive friendly they've ever seen. Both sides gave it absolutely everything. That game finished on a knife edge. 2 months later, Chinnor against Caldy up at Caldy, very, very similar game. Could have gone either way, but Chinnor just managed to eke out the win in the last minute. So we're looking at a pretty similar sort of match today, it looks like so far.
So Chinnor had the clean, quick, easy line out. And once again, Luke Carter looking at that box kick. A very English method, you'd say, as after quite an abysmal Six Nations from the Red Roses of the men's team. But giving possession back to Caldy, and Caldy looking to return it back to them through Ollie Wynn. And high, a little bit shallower, more competitive for Will Robinson, a man that we've seen so much of so far, setting up that third try for Caldy. And there is Robin Hardwick. Isaiah Wharton taking that one in. Carter once again opting for the box kick. A common theme in this game so far. Looking for that boot. A great take in the air that is by Charlie Hyde, scorer of Caldy's second try. Miraculously stayed in somehow. But Kai Owen being pinged there, lying over the tackler, over the player.
Yeah, that's a pretty harsh one. They seem to be pinned in there, but I think Chinnor overdoing the box kick. There's a few times there they had the chance to move the ball quickly, having taken some turnover ball, but slow the ball down again, go for the box kick. It's okay if you've got a really good kick chase, but the second you fall off that kick chase, as you say, Robinson High look really, really dangerous on that left-hand side. So Chinnor almost asking Caldy to come and attack them, where sometimes they look more dangerous if they move the ball themselves and keep the ball in hand.
Yeah, you say it was quite. I must agree with you. I think it's a tough penalty to concede in those situations, and I mean, props aren't the niftiest of players at the best of times. So when they're pinned down like that, it's even worse.
It's certainly when he can't move. He's obviously done something seriously to his shoulder or arm. So probably referee's probably thinking, oh, maybe I was a bit harsh on him there, as he literally cannot move.
Yeah, it's looking potential dislocation or something.
Yeah, that could be dislocated elbow or wrist. He's obviously in a lot of pain. He's a big, tough man, so it takes a lot to take him off. He
is indeed. And so Kai Owen makes way on the 27-minute mark, and so makes way for the Georgian Ramaz Rakadze. A gentle giant, some would describe, and some may other just describe him as a giant. Yeah,
I'd say, yeah. A very, very nice man, but you wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of him. Lovely big smile, but the giant is something that he certainly is. But been a great club man, great additions to the club since he joined from Plymouth Albion back end of last season.
So, Caldy now inside Chinnor's 22. Jamie Campbell unable to snatch that one away from Max Laboda. The maul rolling on. Ollie Wynn wants the ball now. After a couple of indications of hostility by the referee, and through the backs it goes really quick. And that was Charlie Hyde who's been caught in possession there. And Chinnor managing to steal it back, but illegally, says the referee. Ollie Wynn potentially looking at going quickly there, but I think it was Kieran Goss who's tried to get a little involved there and not got the better of it.
Yeah, so Nick Smith came in, isolated the attacker, made a really good tackle. He went down to ground. Kieran Goss came in, looked to get the jackal, looked to have a lift in the tackle area, but referee obviously decided he pinged Chinnor for not release of the tackle, which seemed a bit harsh to me. But Caldy go again to the corner and look to replicate their secret strength, which is this driving maul.
Yes, very strong forward pack indeed for Caldy. The likes of Monty Weatherby, Joe Sproston, Sam Olliott, JJ Dickinson, and of course Ollie Hearn, who usually tails at the end and nicks the tries, and that's a very good line out again by Caldy. And Ollie Hearn, as you can see, with the ball on the edge and just waiting and waiting and pouncing to give Caldy yet another try in this game. Securing the bonus point inside 30 minutes in this game. And chewing and throwing is all it is here at Kingsley Road. But really, really clever by that that Caldy maul.
Again, if we mentioned it, really, really strong maul. If you give Caldy a chance to kick into the corner, they are going to score. You've got to really make sure your discipline is on point, because at the moment, giving Caldy easy yards, I think overdoing the box kick, and then giving chance Caldy to attack again, giving away penalties, then they're kicking into the corner, look really, really strong from that driving maul and have a deserved lead.
So as it would stand in the league table at the minute, Chinnor would be outside of the playoff spots, staying in 8th, unaware of what's going on around them in the games right now. As Kieran Wilkinson misses that one once again. But it was going very well for Chinnor this season. Many opportunities to, they've put in some hefty results, namely Worcester at the Six Ways. That was a big highlight of their calendar. They've beaten Doncaster, Bedford, many of the big teams, but couldn't quite best Ealing. As Ollie Wynn now sends that one deep and gathered, but not securely by Nick Smith, and he opts for the boot, quite low, bobbling around for Kieran Wilkinson. And Charlie Hyde on the chase of that one, along with Dylan Hodkinson. Luke Carter's done very well to get back up and utilising it.
So he's basically been exactly the same position as Kyle was, so fair play to the referee. That's good. He's not 10 metres.
So referee's arm goes outstretched, as you say, John. Not 10 metres there was Joe Sproston as they went into contact. So a lot of noise going on in this near side to us.
Needs to watch yourself, Matt Kens. I think he's already been banned for abuse of the referee and fourth official. So maybe that's why he's taken himself up into the gantry, but he's still screaming at the officials.
Well, this near side of Chinnor fans and was absolutely raging at some of the decisions there, but they still got the ball in their possession. An unfamiliar and happy situation with this line out. Just beyond the 10-metre line. And of course, Campbell is the man to receive it. Caldy not adding too many players to that initially as it goes through to Tom Watson. Wide, doing really well to evade that tackle, Will Cave. Carter now wanting to go back inside. Lovely interplay between Luke Carter and Robin Hardwick. Lovely tackle by Kieran Wilkinson. Carter still going. Peeling around the side. Hardwick to Will Cave. Potentially high by JJ Dickinson. Still they truck on. Rukadze. And over goes Isaiah Watson. Isaiah Wharton, the man diving over.
Yes,
Caldy's defence
that's what Chinnor looked to go through the phase of keep the ball in hand rather than kick the ball away. They look pretty dangerous. They're getting over the gain line all the time. A lovely little snipe from Luke Carter off a nice move. Another superb, almost try-scoring tackle from Kieran Wilkins. That's the second one he's done already this match. He's normally renowned for his superb attacking, not his defending, but fair play to him. But Chinnor managed to recycle the ball, quick went left, and Izzy Wharton was over from a couple of metres. He's pretty difficult to stop.
Well, you might have just seen a ball blitz past the face of...
That's come over from the fourth team match
Simpson
against Buckingham, so...
as you say, yeah. Community rugby very strong here in Chinnor. Not called the Villagers for no reason. But Richie Simpson nails that kick despite the distraction of Chinnor's fourth team. And so Chinnor back closer in this game.
So that's 7 tries just over the half an hour mark. So as we talked about earlier, it's going to be a real sort of ding-dong affair. I think Chinnor looked much more dangerous with the ball in hand. Should stop kicking it away and just keep on going through the phases.
You say to stop kicking away, but you know what's coming right now, don't you, from Luke Carter? And there it is, ushering the ball back to the back of that ruck. They compete, Charlie Hyde. Not winning it that time, knocking it on into touch, so decision for Chinnor will be line out or scrum.
I absolutely don't mind them kicking it from there, just in the 22 from the kick-off or restart, that's no problem. But it's once they've gone through multiple phases, look like they've really stretched the Caldy defence and then slow it down and look to go to the air, rather than sometimes you think, oh, well, actually, there's men out wide, there's space out wide, let's roll the dice and look to attack.
So 3 points in this game in the first half. 6 points been left out on the field by Kieran Wilkinson, though. As you say, great defensive effort so far by Caldy's number 10, but from the boot, he's not been that exceptional. From the tee, rather, I should say, rather than the boot. He's done some brilliant kicks so far, but referee pinging Chinnor for a not straight throw on that one. Probably the right call. Jamie Campbell taking it ever so slightly on his outside shoulder with the compete coming up from Caldy. I was alluding earlier that there was a point for Chinnor where they went on an absolute roll of any team that was coming up against them, they were just batting them off with absolute no problems at all, until it came to Ealing, and it was a very close encounter, 4 or 5 points in it.
So we played over the Christmas period 6 matches on the spin, all against the full-time professional teams. Played exceptionally well. Had some amazing wins.
A late no tackle there. I'm not sure how that has been given to Caldy. One of Chinnor's players has actually just bundled. I think it was Connor Wilkinson there, but. Yeah, a very bizarre decision by the referee there. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no worries.
John,
I didn't really actually see what there was. Was that an early tackle, or was it an attacker taking a defender out? One ref would do 50-50, the other one would go the other way, wouldn't they? Caldy have got the runners in front of the ball carrier. Chinnor's defenders trying to isolate the ball carrier, and they just basically about 4 players just ran into each other, and probably one of those rugby instances you just scrum it down and go again. What was it?
So a lot of chatter going on this gantry of whose ball that was meant to be, but Chinnor are happy to have it. But still, once again, the call of not straight against Chris Moore. And Alan Walker is probably sitting on the bench, gagging to come on in this second half. And what an impact he can make,
referees who's becoming almost digging himself into corner now, being extremely pedantic at that sort of line out call. That's 2 in which didn't look particularly not straight to me. So he set himself a standard, which is a shame, because you want to see the game to go to keep flowing. There's been an amazing game so far with say over 40 points in 38 minutes, but we'll see how they go from this scrum.
I'll return once again to Chinnor's good run of form earlier in this season, and it all started to stagnate once.
No, I just think
Ealing cut their loanee players out, didn't they?
Well, there's a couple on a couple of loanees today, 10 and 14. Obviously, against Ealing, when we played Ealing, Chinnor played Ealing, there was no loanees at all, and it was probably Chinnor's best performance of the season. But I think over that Christmas period, playing Worcester, playing Bedford, playing Cornish Pirates, playing Coventry and playing Ealing, all one after another, it just took so much out of the lads mentally, or physically and mentally and emotionally as well. So really look forward to that this break. The boys had 11 days off, and hopefully we've been re-energised, and we'll see how they're going so far.
So Kieran Wilkinson not quite finding touch there as Nick Smith gets a return run at the Ravers. Wide over the top it goes to Sam Hanks. And support was there and ready. And there is Jamie Campbell having a bit of freedom to roam and slip in a few tackles. And there's his counterpart, Connor Brockschmidt. from 4 to 5 to 6 with Harry Dugmore.
It looked like he was going to...
Open it goes. Lovely offload from Watson to Hanks in the centres. Carter to Cave. Chinnor building up some really positive phases here, making meters every step they go. And a big collision there into Isaiah Watson. But the decision goes for a knock-on and in favour of Caldy. So pressure off them for the time being as we enter the closing few moments in this game. We have had a couple of stoppages, and those stoppages may not have been accounted for on your screen clock, so do bear with us. So we will have just a few more moments to go in this game.
Yeah, some real good heavy carries in midfield from Chinnor, as you mentioned, Dom. 4, 5, 6 all carried consecutively, dragging Caldy's defence, getting quite narrow. Then Chinnor had the chance to spin it out wide. Nice little break and offload from Tom Watson, just didn't manage to go to hand. And it's a really good scramble from Caldy, which forced Chinnor into an error and gives Caldy a chance to clear their lines with maybe a minute or two to go to half-time.
Yes, the clock in the ground here at Kingsley Road says 41 minutes. The clock on your screen also says 41 minutes, so I'm sure the referee will be giving the chirps of the whistle to signal half-time very shortly. But first, we will have this scrum for the visitors, Caldy. Chinnor yet to have a scrum in this first half. JJ Dickinson does a pick off the base of the ruck. Through the hands it goes now onto that left wing. Ollie Wynn shipping it off to Olliott. And they know that if the ball goes out, it will be half-time. So, did Caldy take the lead? Or do they carry on playing? And bouncing out it goes. So, potential knock-on by Chinnor. But no, they go for the line-out for a fair competition in the air. And the referee's clock still not in the red. So still
so the clock we're looking at is doesn't stop for breakdowns and injuries. So
we did of course have a few
we
injuries.
Had Kyo's nasty one to come off and a few others. So I think there might be another 30 seconds left, but certainly this chance to play this last phase.
So just might have noticed there Chris Moore just edging a little bit towards Jamie Campbell's side, and it's pulled off as the referee is happy to let that one play this time round. And a hard line by Isaiah Wharton. Down the open side they still go with Chris Moore. Chinnor, when they get the ball going, run quick. And speaking of speed, that is Nick Smith. Cave out the back to Simpson. Wider still to Brodie Robinson, and he will have a go. And having a go he is, doing very well. Out the back now, Sam Hanks. Stopped on the 22-metre line. Forwards getting involved to support that, making sure they don't lose it, but instead they get it back in emphatic ways. And it's a penalty for the men in black and white.
Yeah, so Chinnor managed to get first phase ball that time, went through the couple of phases, good strong carry from Izzy Wharton, went down the left wing, Nick Smith made some good ground, then Chinnor went wide. Brodie Robinson saw he was one against Caldy's second row, so he burnt him on the outside, then burnt the scrum up on the outside. He had Tom Watson and Sam Hanks in support, probably picked the wrong person, whereas Watson would have had the pace to go in, but picked out Hanksy. Hanksy's tackled, but Caldy in their desperation give a penalty away, and Chinnor have a chance to launch a final attack of this half.
Well, these situations are always very difficult to defend, and if you can do well, then you're doing superbly well. And Caldy trying their best now as Chinnor peel round the corner. Leading at the back is Chris Moore, and the arm goes up from the referee to signal that try. And so, in this game in Buckinghamshire, we are 4 tries apiece. Once again, the forwards on both teams working in overdrive to secure the points for their relevant sides.
Yeah, Dom,
now.
as we said before, both sides are really, really strong from their driving maul 5 metres out. Chinnor giving Caldy, dose of romance, and Caldy 10 minutes ago. Unstoppable maul in that right-hand corner. Chinnor exactly the same. Really, really good catch at 2. They hit the maul immediately, and then it's virtually unstoppable to prevent that from going over. So at half time, as we've mentioned, that's 8 tries in 44 minutes. Incredible game of rugby so far. Both coaches, I should imagine, will be looking to see if they can tighten up their D. But the crowd really enjoying in this sunshine a feast of running rugby.
And to cap off the first half, it's an outstanding kick by Richie Simpson to give them the maximum from that instance. And we will go into this first half with Chinnor leading 26 points to 22. So 4 points in it, but what a high-scoring first half we have both alluded to so far. What you described it very well earlier, a ding-dong battle it has been between these two sides. Quite village teams, working their way up from quite low areas of the English setup, but they find themselves battling it out in the Elior Champ rugby season.
Yeah, so there's two teams, very, very similar cultures, all about the community rugby. Obviously your first team is the pinnacle of that, but they both have a huge mini and junior sections. We're turning our back. There's Chinnor 4th team playing, Chinnor 3rd team are playing High Wycombe first team today. There's been a under 16 girls match before the first team match, so both Caldy and Chinnor are really, really part of their communities, but the first team rugby is the standard of top level championship rugby, and the big crowd bathed in this superb spring sunshine have had an absolute treat in this first 40 minutes.
Well, we obviously started off with this try here by, I think it was Brodie Robinson for Chinnor. He snuck round the side.
Yeah, he's looked absolutely electric out on that right-hand side, to be fair. So was Caldy's left winger, Will Robinson.
Immediate response as well, though, from Caldy as they went through the driving maul, something that we've seen so much so far in this game. Ollie Hearn was the man that was on the back of that one.
As we said, both teams are superb attacking the driving maul, not particularly great defending it. But as I say, if you're getting in within 5 metres of that line, if the referee's not picking you for a not straight, almost undefendable.
But then we had this absolute moment of magic. It was by Charlie Hyde. One, I don't know how that stayed in, and two, I don't know how he stayed in.
Well, that all came from a superb break from Chinnor's 10, who got to within maybe a metre of Caldy's line. A superb tackle from Kieran Wilkinson stopped a certain try. Tried to offload, but we were an open play, so picked up by a Caldy player. They then immediately looked to run the ball. Superb kick down into the deep. The only people in the backfield were Chinnor's front row, so Hyde and Robinson did superbly well to hack the ball on and then keep the ball and scored a superb try. That was a sort of 14-point swing in 5 seconds of rugby.
Absolutely, and then Caldy came once again, a breakaway by, I think it was Kieran Wilkinson, offloaded to Ollie Wynn, and then it was Ollie Hearn once again coming bombarding through the middle on a very hard line.
Yeah, as we said before, Dom, that came from a Chinnor's box kick. Chinnor's kick chase not good enough, letting Caldy get in behind Chinnor's defensive line, then going down that blind side. Robinson made good yardage. He looked inside, superb support run, lovely offload from the ground and under the post from Wynn, so a superb try from Caldy there.
Now it would have been very easy for Chinnor to kind of sit back and say, oh no, it's not really our day, especially after Caldy brought in their 4th and bonus try through Ollie Hearn once again. So a hat-trick for him on the day.
Yeah, you mentioned, Dom, I think that was Caldy's bonus point 4th try within the first 28 minutes of rugby, so they'd scored three tries unanswered, so Chinnor looking on the back foot, but I think they just tweaked their play after conceding that 4th try and then kept the ball in hand a bit more, started going through the phases. You mentioned it, some powerful runners up through the midfield, Connor Brockschmidt, Jamie Campbell making yardage, Izzy Wharton making yardage. That's sucking Caldy's defenders in and putting gaps out wide. So we see here Izzy Wharton going over, powerful runner. He's going to take some stopping from there.
Yeah, it was very quick thinking, and as you say, that ball in hand was really working for Chinnor, able to find those spaces, and it seemed like every carry they were making, they were just making meters, and they reaped the rewards of it through that try, as you say, by Izzy Wharton. And then they once again went to the line-out option. And Jamie Campbell, the man, the tower, the pillar for Chinnor in the line-out.
Yeah, that was after some really good phase play from Chinnor. Attacked down this left-hand side corner. Nick Smith made some really good yardage. Then we saw Brody Robinson isolating some sort of lazy midfield runners. Went round 4, went round 9. Tom Watson took the ball on, couldn't quite offload, but we say in desperation, Caldy gave away the penalty. Chinnor kicked it into 5 metres, and then again another unstoppable drive to go over, and with a superb conversion of the last kick of the match to take the lead, 26-22.
Very keen to hear what is going on around the Elior Champ grounds. So Bedford currently half-time. Everywhere else, Bedford 7 points all with Nottingham. Coventry 24-5 up against Doncaster Knights. Ealing Trailfinders going rampant against London Scottish, 55 up. Richmond are 6-33 down to Cornish Pirates. So big high scorers in West London. And Worcester currently edging it out against Cambridge, 19-10. Cambridge, a team yet to find a win, as I say. And this is a game they are keeping still in their grasp, but it is not over anywhere in the grounds, and certainly not here in Buckinghamshire. And we will be back very shortly with you to bring you the last 40 minutes of this game. See you very shortly.
You stay hydrated on a lovely sunny afternoon like this, so please take advantage of one of the 7 bars available to you. Don't forget as well, if you've got a little hankering for something sweet, our Chinnor Walls, our SEND team, have a little market and they are selling beautiful donuts, so you can be kind enough to drop a couple up here so I can talk about the good experience, although my blood sugar levels and my blood is sugar. All the money raised from that school goes into the development of our SEND team. A new team for this year is going great guns and has introduced the possibility of playing rugby for those who might not have had that chance. Fantastic team, there's who's Steve, giving you money. wish a very happy belated birthday to the legendary schoolboy Leslie, 50 yesterday. Doesn't look a day over 49. He's a wonderful human being. All right, good Luke. Lots of congratulations, Lee. I'll just get out of bed again. Don't forget, after the match today, celebrating Women's Day, we're going for an all-out party in the marquee. There'll be about an hour's turnaround post-game, but we'll stick a bit of music on area. Player of the match will be awarded, and then all hell will probably break loose in the nicest possible way. So over 18, stick around. Under 18, so do your homework. Will you please welcome back our guest, Caldy?
So welcome back to Clubber TV on this coverage of the Elior Champ round 20 fixture between Chinnor and Caldy. Bit of a reminder for what happened in the last half. 4 tries apiece, with Caldy being the team, with Chinnor being the team to better on the boot, making 3 out of their 4 conversions compared to Caldy's 1 of 4. I hope you're all ready and raring to go for another exciting 40 minutes. We had some first half, didn't we, John Vaughan?
Yeah, Dom, I think if the second half keeps up to that standard, we've been thoroughly well treated for 80 minutes. I should imagine, as we said before, both teams will be being told at half-time to tighten up that defence, but in these conditions I think they're both looking to play. And I think this game is one of those that who is winning at the 80th minute when the referee blows his whistle could go either way. We could be into a 40-38, so a bit of a England-France last week scenario.
Yeah, I mentioned the Six Nations earlier. This report already. What an unfortunate series it was for England after such high expectations, but there we are. That's the nature of the beast, isn't it, with rugby? No,
I wouldn't worry about that. I just think it was an amazing tournament. It's great for world rugby that every team can beat every team, and it's some amazing games to watch, great spectacle. So better than everyone expecting just France and England to dominate. So personally, I think it's great for the game, and we're seeing a very similar sort of game today.
Undeniably, it was one of the greatest tournaments we've seen in the modern era. And a great line out there, won by Jamie Campbell. And Chinnor get their first go at Caldy in this second half through Tom Watson. And messing about there, but still wriggled away is Luke Carter, their captain for today. And Doug Moore decides to go back down the blind side. There's plenty of support around him. Rukadze. Mentioned him earlier, having to come on earlier than he would have liked to, and earlier than Kai Owen would have wanted to come off after a suspected shoulder injury. And a little grubber go through by Richie Simpson, collected by Wilkinson and dealt with by Charlie Hyde. Probably not the best of clearance kicked by him. Maybe a bit of panic setting in there, but it's a great position that Chinnor find themselves in once again.
Yeah, Rukadze's down. It's a bit of a painful blow midships by the looks of it. I think Tom Watson has been a big miss for Chinnor over the last 2 months since he was injured, broken his hand against Coventry. He's come back with real full force. You see him there carry, looks to stand his centre up and then just really accelerates into the tackle, gets over the gain line, puts the ball on the plate and a nice little dink in behind the Caldy line, put him under pressure to clear. So I think he's checked and they're all still intact. So we're back into play with Chinnor attacking line out 20 metres from the Caldy line.
It very much could have been one of those instances for for props, where they take a little knee, just let everybody else getting their breath back. But he's up and going again and involved in this line out as they decide to go short with no lift and collapsed by, that was Sam Olliott of Caldy. Simpson showing and going, taking a moment to slow himself down there, and back through the open side they go with Brockschmidt. Again, as I say, Chinnor just making yards every movement they go. And here is Doug Moore, right on this right-hand side, back inside. Great ping across to Chris Moore. Ricadze getting in to make sure it stays in possession of Chinnor, and tipped on from Hardwick to Cave. But the referees wanted to come back for an infringement that had happened beforehand.
So nice little move from Chinnor, no jump, went straight to Campbell. They got a real jog on, taken down by Caldy according to the referee. So Chinnor will now have a chance to kick deeper into Caldy's territory and probably launch themselves from 5 or 6 metres.
So yes, the referee's arm stretched diagonally upwards towards Chinnor, meaning it will be their penalty after Caldy illegally brought that maul down. And that sun angled slightly more towards that bottom right hand corner, and so won't give the Chinnor backline as many problems as it caused Caldy in the first half, and Campbell claiming that one easily once again. Caldy's maul defence far better this time, really holding them back, but Chinnor coming back with a second wind. Of course, Chris Moore at the back of that one, leaning on. Tom Watson in the back there as well, and the arm outstretched to indicate try number 5 for Chinnor.
Yeah, it seemed a good take from Chinnor, but Caldy seemed to manage to defend that first drive, and maybe is Chinnor back a bit, but Chinnor really well re-established that the wedge, and then unerringly went towards the try line. A couple of backs joined in and then gave that extra push to go under, to go over right in front of the referee. He was well positioned in the melee as it collapsed over the line.
Well, I was just about to say, he's done very well to spot the ball going down underneath all those players. Must have been a combination of at least 20 odd players involved there to see through to spot that one going down. But the man in green, his decision is always final in these instances, so it will be a delight to the Chinnor ground that he's done it in favour of them on this instance. So 3 out of 4 so far from the boot from Richie Simpson, a young gun brought into this Chinnor side in replacement of Nathan Chamberlain, and this time just inches away from getting on inside that right hand stick, but not to be. So Chinnor extend their lead now to 31 points to 22, a 9-point buffer ahead of Caldy.
But this game has swung to and fro, so it's a 9-point buffer, but the way Caldy attacked in that first half, that could diminish really, really quickly.
So a slight knock on there, I think it was by Reece Tudor on the restart.
It looked like it, but I don't think the referee has called it, so Chinnor having to play.
So Luke Carter opting for that box kick option that he so often does.
Yeah, really good meters there from Carts. He was tight to that touch line, managed to get the ball past the 10-metre line, which you're going to be really, really pleased with that.
There was some echoes of it being brought back over into the 22, but the referee happy with how everything has panned out so far. So Caldy over the top, won by Will Cave, but Tudor plays on, running into Tom Watson, and the counter ruck was going to be very good. The referee is wanting to bring it back for a knock-on by Will Cave. I think
Slight overthrow from Caldy, well picked up from Cave. Looked like he was going to catch it and storm into Caldy territory, but just didn't manage to hold on to it under pressure. And the referee brings it back for the knock-on.
But it seemed like over-the-top move by Caldy was what they were going for, but miscommunication by somewhere, because no one was at the back of it to receive it. So there was no lifter that went up. There was no one to receive at the back. So definitely a miscommunication somewhere. But Will Cave, very quick on it, just unable, as you say, John, to capitalise on that instant and extend this lead for Chinnor once more. So once again, scrums have been very good today. JJ Dickinson picks off the bait. So kick by Ollie Wynn is blocked. He gets another chance. Now with Laboda. Wilkinson doing a high, swiftly bomb to Nick Smith, who deals with it very well. And straight out he goes. And we're back in almost the same position.
Yeah, good attacking scrum for Caldy. JJ Dickinson picked up, fed the scrum half, went to dink it, semi-charged down, ballooned over Wynn's head. He managed to get it back, passed it back into the field to Wilkinson. I would have thought he was going to arrow it down into this far corner with no one to be at home. Slightly miscued his kick, and then a superb clearing kick from Nick Smith.
Yeah, not much coming from that attack by Caldy, so they will get another chance. The last two attacks haven't been the best, but here they go for a third time lucky now through Michael Barlow. And a little bit slower that time as it goes to Olliott. Back down the blind side, that shorter side, and just not working out this second half so for Caldy. Kieran Wilkinson does a shake of his fist and a beat of the ground in his frustration.
Not happy with that one. It was good. Obviously a cool move. They'll attack into the midfield, then swipe blind. Looked to have manipulated a man over, but the ball was slightly behind the winger, or Wilkinson probably think the winger overran it. He was not happy as he threw the pass and drifted harmlessly into touch.
So just hit the 50-minute mark in this game. So
Big Joe Sproston comes off. What a legend he is of Nat 1 Champ Rugby. Puts in his shift week in, week out, and probably not his ideal conditions today, but he's put his shift in and he's well-earned rest.
Absolutely. So that was Ollie Hearn and Joe Sproston coming off, making their way for Matt Gallagher and Ryan Higginson as Chinnor pick and go. Once again, Will Cave managing to find a bit of space, tipping it off beautifully to Izzy Wharton. Still Chinnor go on. Referee happy to let that one flow. Watson. Turned over by Caldy, so they've got the men over the side now. They just need to play it through the hands. No one really looking at that one. Wilkinson. Kick downfield. No one there though. Hoping for a fortunate bounce, and it does bounce fortunately. And it's Charlie Hyde who tips on to Wilkinson. Wilkinson still going. Players getting in the way potentially. Tipped on now. Monty Weatherby storming towards the line. Held up by Rukadze, his opposite number. Now with Hodkinson trying to get over the line. They've got so much space, and it's a walk-in eventually for Callum Ridgway. Lovely end-to-end work by the Ravers to get them back into this game.
Yeah, Don, very similar to the first half where Chinnor attacking, looking dangerous, looking like they were about to score. A turnover in midfield, then the Ravens immediately attacked. There was space and men out wide. Looked to go down that left-hand corner. Superb kick from Kieran Wilkinson. Found space. Nasty bounce for the covering Chinnor players. Went straight back into Hyde's hands. He made great yardage. Then superb support from Caldy. Went through the phases, and just Chinnor ran out of defenders, and over Ridgway went under the post with literally no one on him.
No, absolutely not. So it was probably one of the, if not the easiest try he's probably scored of his career, but they'll be happy to take it nonetheless.
Yeah, so the first 5-6 minutes of this half completely dominated by Chinnor, but Caldy with their never say die attitude, straight back into the match now, into a 29-32 match, so on a knife edge again.
So there's a couple of players from Caldy. We're going to get a little bit of treatment. And I must say, I can hear a lot of cheers for Come On Caldy echoing around Kingsley Road. So 189 miles they have to travel to get here from the Wirral, which is a very committed fan base, that's for sure. As now Ollie Wynn opts for the box kick this time. Chased down by Jamie Campbell, but a very good spot by the referee and even by Matt Cairns up on the gantry, calling that offside even before it had been pinged by the referee. There's a player that's gone down here. I think it looks like the experienced man, JJ Dickinson. And he is not a player they would want to lose at this stage of the game. You've been around the block with Chinnor for many, many years now. From this team this season, who's been your standout performer?
Well, there's been quite a few standout performers considering where we are in the league. We mentioned earlier, obviously, Jamie Campbell's come from pretty an unknown quantity and has been a bit of a revelation. Well, he's been an absolute revelation. Rob Harwick, still a very young tight head prop, is in the minutes he's put in has been absolutely incredible. Tom Watson at 12 has been really, really good. Chinnor have missed him in the weeks he's been out injured. So I'm loath to pick out players, but for me, I think a couple of those guys have been in amongst a team that's completely overperformed. They've been maybe just slightly above everyone else.
Yes, from finishing 10th last season in the 12-man league to in 8th so far this season, it's been a huge improvement, led by ex-England man Nick Easter in the driver's seat of this team. And so far, neither of these teams wanting to take the lead role in this game. Very back and forth, ding-dong, as John and I have both described it. As Chinnor now, with a bit of loose ball, gain it back. And we'll go through the hands of Will Cave to begin with, just to take a little bit of pressure off and allow both teams to regather themselves. There is Carter on the box kick, looking for the compete by Goss, but claimed excellently once again by Charlie Hyde, but he jumped straight into touch. And a change coming now for Chinnor. Number 23, Scott Hall, has just run onto the pitch. And
Izzy Wharton is off.
Come on for Isaiah Wharton, who has carried relentlessly hard today. Also scored one of Chinnor's tries. So the back row replacement of Scott Hall replaces him, and he can be very proud of what he has done for the Villagers today. But business as usual now for Chinnor in this line-out. Brockschmidt the option that goes up this time round rather than Campbell. And Watson hitting hard, very upright as well. Carter, box kick a little bit deeper this time. Caught by Tudor, offloaded brilliantly to Hyde, and he goes dancing around the outside.
Play! He's offside!
Hardwick just erring on the line of offside there, but managing to stay onside. And Ollie Wynn has had enough. Wants the ball away and out of their hands.
Oh, what the hell is that?
Goss with Carter, with an outrageously sideways kick, and the return now. Caldy really pinned back. Wilkinson having to just wait around for that one. And John, you've just given me a look of bemusement of what on earth has just gone on there.
That was just a really odd phase of play. Nice kick from Wynn. He'd looked to find space. Luke Carter came out and put a bit of a weird sort of slice fly hacking, which went to sort of no one in particular, but all the players sort of bumped into each other, and then Will Cave bounced to Will Cave, who saw acres of open space and put a searching kick deep in. No one really chased him from Chinnor apart from Scott Hall, who's just come on, and the ball bounced around, gave Wilkinson a really difficult ball to deal with, and he eventually managed to just sort of nudge it into touch, but it gives Chinnor a really attacking line out 7-8 metres from Caldy's line.
Yeah, nobody really set for that passage of play there, but a man that will be set right now is Alan Walker as he collects the ball on the back of this maul, and what an apt time for him to come on and make an impact, and there he is, joined by Watson as well to try and burrow over. But we will come back for penalty advantage. I think jumping across the line potentially indicated by the referee. But the Chinnor fans here.
Yeah, so Caldy did really well there to stop. It looked like it was an unstoppable ball, but Caldy managed to turn it towards the touchline, so Chinnor had to break away, and Walker was stopped a couple of metres from the line. Then Chinnor looked to have knocked the ball on, but the referee has brought them back for, as you say, I think it was jumping across the line. He likes these little technical offences, so Chinnor have another chance to score from 5 metres out as Chinnor makes some substitutions, or both teams making substitutions. Luke Carter comes off and Callum Pascoe comes on back for returning from injury. Caldy makes multiple substitutions in their front row as well.
Yeah, it's not really a surprise that Luke Carter had a very good game today, but the last moment that he had to contribute was that very skew-if kick on the full from Caldy. But now, again, Campbell up, down, quickly. Walker at the back. Stagnant as so far. Caldy, great defence. They have to peel off, though, Chinnor here.
Another penalty to Chinnor.
Arm is outstretched, as you say, John. So, Chinnor carrying on. Caldy meeting them with everything. Trying to make sure to keep that scoreline as close as possible. But Chinnor, they want something else to say about it. Going through the hands of a couple of the forwards. That time looks like Alan Walker. On to Scott Hall. He's short. Pascoe going, showing, going, scoring. Excellent by the recently substituted on Callum Pascoe. Caldy's defence were preparing for the offload or the pick and go once again, but they didn't spot the eagle-eyedness of Callum Pascoe.
It looks like Caldy have done some really good defensive analysis at half-time. They've managed to stop Chinnor's driving maul from the first half and putting Chinnor under pressure, so that this time it came down again. Chinnor went through a few phases, a few picks and drives. Scott Hall made some good yardage, and then slashing back blind, Callum saw a little gap and just a lovely little scrum half sneak over. A superb first touch for him. That's Conor Brockschmidt coming off.
Yeah, Conor Brockschmidt just come off, and he'll be replaced by, I'm guessing, William Ryan in that second row position.
Well, that's a comeback from the ages from Willie Ryan, talismanic captain for Chinnor over the years, an amazing rugby player, an amazing man. He has been asked from Nick Easter to come back out of retirement for this last block of 6 fixtures. Doesn't look as sprightly as he used to be, but he's got 25 minutes to sort of dig this one out.
Well, that kick by Kieran Wilkinson, very shallow, and Reece Tudor happy to just gobble that one up on the restart and get the Ravers going once again. Wilkinson fizzing that one out to Michael Barlow, and wide once again to Conor Wilkinson, and he's got space to run into, still going, not held. His opposite number tries to get over, but to no avail. Wide it goes, Wilkinson to Dickinson. Caldy trying to inject a new lease of life into this one, as that was Nathan Rushton, who found himself in a bit of no man's land. That's that creative 10 role, but Caldy trying to inject a new lease of life into this one, as that was Nathan Rushton, who found himself in a bit of no man's land. That's that creative 10 role, but Caldy trying to inject a new lease of life into this one, as that creative 10 role, but think Rushton's just going to have a bit of a word said to him here. So I think the indication from the referee, Richard Gordon, to JJ Dickinson, was that a couple of moments of foul play have happened, and that was a neck roll at the breakdown. So Chinnor get the ball back after Caldy were trying to gain some momentum, as I say. And brilliantly exited by the men in black and white once again.
Got a nice strike on him, Richie Simpson, on his debut, coming after his namesake Richard Simpson, a bit of a legend at Chinnor Rugby Club, so he's got big boots to fill, but at the moment on debut he's having a very accomplished game. As Tom Watson comes off, superb performance from him, coming back from a long-term injury. He's been really good. James Bolton comes in. Brodie Robinson's gone off on the right wing. Watson has gone to wing, and Bolton's gone into the centre.
And there he was, first impact from that passage of play there, and brilliant work, brilliant battle there between the two flankers of Callum Ridgway and Harry Dugmore. Back out it goes, now with plenty of space. Dugmore out the wide. Not quite getting that pass out further to Sam Hanks. But Chinnor really looking the more exciting of these teams. Not to say that what the energy that Caldy have brought into this one hasn't been up to the standard, but the execution definitely has been far better.
Yeah, I think they'll be a bit
Chinnor.
upset about that. They went through the phases really well for the line out of wall, made some good yardage, then swept left. Some runners coming in. Someone needs to straighten that line. They were always just drifting a bit, and then the pass was straight into touch, which is a bit unfortunate because they were looking pretty dangerous.
So line out, won by Caldy brilliantly. Couldn't get the better of Jamie Campbell on that one, and a staggered run into contact. That was Rushton doing some heavy work and winning the penalty back, claiming a high tackle on him. A moment that he'd just done a few phases before, has now won the penalty, as Alan Walker is the offender on that instance.
It's both teams, though, isn't it? Yes.
So a couple more changes for the visitors here. Two back changes as Lewis Barker and Matt Kilcourse come onto the pitch, and it'll be Rhys Tudor who moves off his wing. And it looks like Michael Barlow of the centres as well has had his day, and what a day he has had. Very hard running, very great tackling.
Move it.
But now Chinnor come away with the ball. Bit of a free chance for them to do something with it. Bit stagnant running from Sam Hanks though, as the reinforcements get over that one. Pascoe ships out wide brilliantly now with Dugmore. Wide they still want to go. Caldy players issuing to get wide. The kick through by Simpson is collected easily by Kilcourse, and he evades 1-2 defenders to allow Caldy to reset and give it to the forwards. That is JJ Dickinson relieving the pressure for the Ravers. And exit the call. And that is Tom Akehurst, who has shunted that one downfield out of their own 22-metre line. And Alan Walker just having a change of shirt there. Potentially going from a bit of a tight fit to a looser fit, or vice versa.
Chinnor going through the phases there, Dom, and we're looking quite dangerous, but then probably run out of patience and put a bit of a dink in. Not the greatest one from Simpson so far today, but good pressure from Goss made them made Caldy's exit difficult. But I think if just keep the ball in hand, go through an extra phase, they sooner or later Caldy will run out of tacklers. But Simpson looking like he's taking some treatment for either cramp or a pulled calf, giving the players after 3 weeks off of a bit of a rest. I think they'll all appreciate.
There's been another change for Caldy to let you know about. Martin Gerrard has just made his way onto the pitch in replacement of number 6, Sam Olliott. And it's a shame for the Chinnor players, though, as Richie Simpson really struggling there, looking like a left hamstring issue.
Don't know what Chinnor will do now here, because they've run out of their backs replacements. They brought 2 on already, so they're going to have to rejig their pack and bring one of their pack into probably the wing or into the centre, and then move everyone out a bit. So it's like either cramp or a bit of a hamstring twing for Simpson, who's had a superb game. But
well, it's Carl Main who has made his way onto the pitch in replacement of Richie Simpson. So when we get a better stoppage and play, we'll be able to figure out what the play that's gone on here. Looks like it may be Will Cave who's gone into the backs and playing in the centres potentially. That's a usual common.
It was Cave and it's him who he carried into that first contact. So I would have thought with Chinnor down in the backs down, they would have driven that more, but they look to play wide.
Well, back down the short side they go, Chinnor, and knocking it on there in that passage of play. So from this scrum, we'll be able to figure out who's going to be playing where after Richie Simpson hobbles off with injury. And speaking of injury, there's another Caldy player down.
I think this is probably a statement of the fact that the boys have been playing the last sort of 4 or 5 months in typical English wintry conditions on quite muddy pitches in dreadful conditions. Certainly in the monsoon we've had in sort of November, December, January in these parts. But all of a sudden the pitch, dry and winds, just some nice warm temperatures the last few days. The pitch has gone really, really fast track. Haven't played for 3 weeks, and it has seemed to have taken its toll on such a fast open game that we sort of witnessed in that first sort of 45 minutes. It's becoming a bit now stop-start after both teams socking it to each other in such a sort of high intensity fashion.
Well, it's Ryan Higginson on this occasion who's just taking his time to get back to his feet, having a little bit of a wander around, see if he's able to carry on. But he don't think he will be. So Monty Weatherby is going to replace him. Very short-lived appearance by Higginson, unfortunately for him. So Monty Weatherby will have to do the job, coming back on as loose head.
So again, this is a strange one for rugby. It's the technicalities of how you can manipulate your substitutions. So Chinnor's 10 is injured, he has to go off. They can't replace him with a player who's already come off. Yet in the front row, as you say, Higginson comes off, but Weatherby is allowed to come back on to supplement the front row. So
it looks like, from how Chinnor are lining up from this scrum, Callum Pascoe is in at 9. Nick Smith will slot in at 10. And then it will be a centre partnership of Will Cave and Sam Hanks, with Tom Watson, James Borton and Kieran Goss as the back three. It's very chopping and changing by the home side. With between 10 and 15 minutes left in this game. The clock in the ground says 64.5 minutes. The clock on your screen says about 71.5. So anywhere between that is how long we've got left. And there we have the first scrum penalty of this game, and it goes to the home side. Chinnor.
That's where you probably see the experience and the scrummage capability of Alan Walker when he comes on. The scrum gets so much tighter. All that experience and his scrummaging prowess gives Chinnor a chance to kick deep into the 22, which is well executed by Nick Smith. So another chance for Chinnor to drive over.
Well, Caldy are a side that love to win scrums, but they very rarely give away scrum penalties at all, so a real rarity in this instance. As they kick to the corner, of course, and Who else but Jamie Campbell collecting it on the top, and who else at the back but Alan Walker shepherding it towards the line, and he's under a bit of duress though. It's collapsing in on itself, so no infringement done. Caldy making sure that they've got some numbers outside though to deal with this Chinnor onslaught that is going to come. And Campbell, brilliantly tackled on the line, a few metres out, and there is Will Cave. Moving from the backs to the forwards in this game after a couple of injuries.
What a great line from Will Cave there. He came from nowhere, I didn't see him coming. Looked like Chinnor was just going to pick and drive. He's come from deep. He's hit the line at a full pace. Makes such a difference. Can isolate defenders, and even if you can hit him on the gain line, he is going to go over. Very difficult guy to stop, and superb try from Cavey, who has shown his versatility. He's playing the back row. He's now playing in the centre, defending off first phase, but yeah, that's his super quality, with his ability to carry in traffic, lovely feet, and powerful ball carrier.
No, it was very good set-up play by Chinnor. All the forwards that were coming round that corner were just making sure to drift a little bit wider, take Caldy's defensive line with them, and then boom, in came Will Cave on that shorter angle, just that closer option to the number 9, and it just meant that anybody tracking across by Caldy, they couldn't go anywhere, and they were on that back foot. So the scoreline now 45 points, may I say, to 29. With just about 8 minutes to go, you've got to think that this is a game that is in Chinnor's hands. It's theirs to lose. 16 points ahead. Chinnor back in their own 22. Hearn was looking to potentially get that one going straight away.
Nice kick from Callum Pascoe there, really clearing his lines again from a scrum off under pressure, 5 metres out. If you're pushing the ball past the 10 metres line, you're going to be happy with that. It gives your pack a bit of a breather and puts pressure on Caldy to launch another attack.
Well, that's not straight. Not very straight at all.
We had a couple of pretty tight ones in that first half, Dom, but I think that one is
that one takes the bacon, doesn't it, a little bit? Yeah, but it just goes to show that putting someone up in the line out as a defensive option is always worth it, because Jamie Campbell didn't get very far up off the ground there, but he got off the ground, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, it puts a bit of doubt in the referee's mind and said that they have competed, so therefore it has to be straight.
Absolutely 100%. So we go back to a scrum.
It's interesting for this scrum now, Dom. We see Kieran Wilkinson is defending out in the outside centre. Often said it's the most difficult place to defend. They obviously want to take him out of the firing line, thinking Chinnor is going to pick up from 8 and run into the 10 channel. So keeping him away from contact and seeing if he can.
A keen observation, and a very good scrum by Chinnor. Got a good shove on, but referee happy to let that one reset itself, and both teams can regather. And maybe it's that shift up of moving a couple of props around, having to put Nathan Rushton over on that tight head side, that's just causing themselves some issues, or maybe just making life a little bit easier for Chinnor's props instead. So here we go again. I was going to say a more stable scrum, but immediately collapsed, and play on by the referee is called as it goes through the hands of Chinnor. Now with Borton out wide to Watson, trying to step inside, but met by a Chinnor player and cleared out exceptionally well by Carl Main. Pascoe wanting to go himself and still wriggling around, but that was tackled by Martin Gerrard. Rukadze. Just
we talk
soaking
about
in the
trying
tackle
to take
there
Kieran
was...
Wilkinson out of the firing line. He's made a tackle in the, or tried to jackal in that wide channel, and gets an absolute smash clear out from Coleman.
Kieran Wilkinson calls the mark, taps and goes immediately. Can't be touched by Watson, so on he goes. This is a great breakaway chance now. Tipping on once again. He's got options outside him, and here is now Martin Gerrard. Great cover tackle. Caldy still tried to go on, off his feet. Chopping and changing. Caldy need to just regather themselves a little bit. JJ Dickinson. Weatherby drops that one. And the referee is reaching into his pocket and issues that one.
I think that's for Nick Smith coming round the ruck and playing the scrum half. Referees deem that to be cynical.
Yeah, I think the right call.
I would say that is the right call, but we had something very similar in the first half when the Caldy scrum half did exactly the same thing, almost in exactly the same position, and he penalised but wasn't yellow carded.
Yes, James Borton there, the man that's been penalised with the yellow card. So
some sort of lazy defender from Chinnor there. The kick went in, it was marked. You should not be letting a guy run from deep in his 22. Just give yourself a few metres, get into the defensive line. Don't give him a channel to run into.
So as Caldy get this shove underway, they are caught up by Alan Walker and trying to wriggle away still. Calls for ball out. Through the hands it goes. Wilkinson, chip across field. Out wide, plenty of space. Wonderful try. Charlie Hyde on that occasion, getting on the end of Kieran Wilkinson's crossfield kick. Absolutely no one around him, and making use of that man advantage that Caldy now find themselves to have. And I mentioned earlier, could be Chinnor's to lose. And absolutely it is, as these scorelines narrow that little bit more.
Yeah, so really well worked try there from Caldy. Chinnor defended the driving maul quite well, but with Chinnor a man down in the backs, there's going to be open space for the open winger. Superbly found by Wilkinson with a wonderful cross kick and converted. So this match is back into the melting pot at is that 5.
So 45 points to 36. A better kick by Kieran Wilkinson on that occasion. 9 points in it. About 5 or 6 minutes still to go. It would need big push from Caldy to snatch anything. They don't yet have, they can't have 1 bonus point, but 2 bonus points away from home wouldn't be a bad outcome. As JJ Dickinson lets that one go, and a man of such experience, you'd have thought he would have just claimed that and bundled it up, but no, they're pinned back with a line out, Caldy, inside their own 22-metre line. So back ball to Dickinson, it goes. Wilkinson, chip over the top. Lots of players running onto this one, but back claimed it was Carl Main. And a penalty called by the referee. I think for an offside call.
He said they were just in front of the kicker.
Yeah.
Chinnor, I think, would probably be wise to calm the game down and kick this for goal. Take a minute to kick it.
Yes, a kick for posts would take it to 48 points for Chinnor and a 12-point gap, and would seriously make it, well, would make it a bigger uphill battle for Caldy to get the win here at Kingsley Road. It would need 2 converted tries, but that is also provided that James Borton can kick this one over, and he will use every second of his countdown that he has. The referee making sure to keep in touch with him of how long he's got left. And now he steps up and kicks and gets it over. And the referee just having a quick word with Nathan Rushton there, as he did just do a little bit of jerk forward. I don't know if you spotted that as well,
I
John.
did. It was a bit like a Michael Jackson sort of thriller move, and it would have been interesting if he'd missed that, whether the referee would give him the opportunity to kick it again.
I think he would have to, wouldn't he? But we restart once again. Kieran Wilkinson, very shallow high kick. Rukadze claimed to have gone backwards, but I'm not too sure whether...
Surely that was a knock-on.
I think you might be right on that one, but there we go. Referee been a little bit fortuitous for Chinnor on that occasion. Let's say that one. Ollie Hearn dragged down there. He's lying down in a bit of pain.
Yes. Bit of pinball there again. Knock on first, second, third. I don't know which was which. But Goss put his opposing number under a lot of pressure, so he forced him into the knock on. Chinnor will be happy with that as the game ticks away and have another scrum to eat up a bit of time, because down to 14 men. Caldy have looked extremely dangerous in those wide channels, off broken field play, off transition ball, off turnover ball, so Chinnor didn't want to give them the chance to get back into this game.
So Rob Hardwick there has just said his goodbyes to the pitch for this game, and Lawson Porter comes on for the final few moments of this game as one of the Caldy players is receiving a bit of treatment. Just trying to tell who it is. It is number 23, Matt Kilcourse, who is receiving a bit of treatment from his team's physio. So, scoreline as it stands, 48 points to 36. And while we've got this breaking play, just to give you a couple of scores on the doors around the champ as well. The Elior champ, as it's now called. Bedford currently 10-14 down at home to Nottingham. Here in Chinnor, we are 48-36. Coventry are currently beating Doncaster 41 points to 24. A big shift by Elephant and Castle.
Yeah, that's the one score that surprised me a bit. I thought Doncaster have been really resurgent in recent weeks, and I thought would go in headlong into grabbing a late playoff spot, but fair play to Coventry. They seems to have turned their season around as well, so that's a big dent for Doncaster, and obviously a big if the match keeps the way it is now, a big boost for Chinnor.
A free kick issued by the referee on this scrum restart. I'll just give you the final fixtures in the champ. Ealing 72, London Scottish 12, Richmond 13, Cornish Pirates 54, and Worcester Warriors 69, Cambridge 10. So putting on a lot of unanswered points there. Chinnor now mauling this one a little bit, getting free. Alan Walker tipping on to Scott Hall. James Borton out the back, spread wide to Watson, but not able to gather that one. It was an ambitious pass nonetheless, and the effort was tried and attempted, but not quite. Referee, didn't look too sure of what the decision was there, but he's gone.
Is it a knock on? Or?
It is a knock on called. It was knocked on into touch, so the option was there for Caldy to use. But John, I'm going to push you. Try not to wear your black and white tinted glasses too much for this one, but who's your man of the match for today?
No, so there's been some really good performances from both teams. Obviously, a couple of tries early on there for Caldy and Wilkinson. We've talked about him all game. He's been instrumental to some of the Caldy's attack, but for me, Chinnor have dominated this second half, and that set piece dominance has with the likes of Campbell and Rob Hardwick as prop has really made Chinnor's win, if it's going to be the win, the most important thing. So for me, my man of the match goes to tight head prop Rob Hardwick.
A very complete performance by him. Managed to do about 75 minutes, which is really good for a prop of any stature. I'm sure you awarding him man of the match will bring him so much joy. Once again, that scrum just so unstable. And it's Chinnor who get the free kick.
So that's a free kick, so they can't go for another scrum, so he's for a different offence, so Chinnor going to have to run this or just
go for
it's going to Willie Ryan again by the looks of it. And
it's Carl Main in the blue scrum cap and ran that one in. And it's perfectly timed by Matt Gallagher on the 9, and they've got a bit of a... Finally goes down to ground. Will Ryan stepping in as number 9 replacement, Alan Walker, with the show and go, ripped away by JJ Dickinson now. So Caldy have their chance to eke the last bits out of this game, and wide they go, tipped on again to Hearn. Hyde inside, won back by Pascoe, foot in touch. There, I think it was Pascoe whose foot was in touch as he regained possession and tried to ship it away. On and on.
Just shows how dangerous Caldy are. They just want to attack from anywhere possible. So any turnover ball, they're just going to go for it. Chinnor need to scramble, still down to 14 men. So Caldy looking to go wide, isolate that extra or one less defender, and see if they can make the most of it.
So this game just keeps ticking on. Can't be an awful lot of time left as a free kick is awarded to Caldy, and they get it underway very quickly. And down this left-hand side they go, now with Wilkinson. Bundled into touch. Great defensive efforts by Chinnor. And there are the chirps of his whistle to signal the end of this game. And what a game it has been. A grand total of 84 points in a game. More than a